Hello Year 1 and welcome to your maths learning for today. It is the 1st of March, so we're in a new month now. It's 1st of March 2021. So your retrieval, can you tell the times? Have a look at the 3 different times, the different clocks, and see if you can tell the time. What time is it? Is it o'clock or 1:30? Then if you can move on to your counting, but I want you to look at your counting not in ones but in twos, in fives and in tens, because we're going to be looking at division and multiplication, and knowing your twos, your fives and your 10 times tables will really support you with this learning in the next few weeks. Once you've completed your retrieval, can you think about the calendar for today? And then move on to your months of the year. So your days of the week, months of the year, and focus on remembering that new question, what is the season that we are now in or moving into? So moving on from there, we are learning to use objects to divide, which means share, equally. So how can we be successful? So first of all, we need to understand what divide means and what equally means, okay? So that moves on to my questions now. What do you know about division? So what is division? What does it mean? And remember, this is a time for you to pause, take a minute to think, have some thinking time, but also for you to share your ideas, whether you want to share them with somebody else or write them down. That is completely up to you, okay? So what do you know about division? What does it mean? Then I can reveal. So division is breaking a number up into an equal number of parts, okay? So breaking up a number into equal parts. So it's making sure that it is shared fairly, so that each group or each person has the same amount, okay, the same number. So if I was to share my sweets, I'd have the same as you might have, okay? So we all have the same. That's what equal means, fair and the same. So there are some questions on the next few slides that we're going to work through. Okay, I'll do one with you, and then after that, you'll have to work through them on your own. And what you are going to do is, I want you to see if you can work them out practically using objects. So it can be counters, cubes, or anything you've got at home. And I know you've been really creative with your counting and things like that over the last few weeks or longer. So if you have other objects, whether it's sweets, pasta, stones, sticks, toys, dolls, cars, okay, use those if you want to, as long as you've got something that you can physically share, okay, physically divide. So what I want you to do is make sure that you read the question, okay, and when you read the question, you need to look at how many objects you need, so the number that you need, and then you need to think about how many groups you are dividing the objects between. So you need to think about what number you need and how many of those objects you need and how many groups you're sharing it into or dividing it into, okay? So on to division now. So the next few slides, this is where they've got the questions. So here it says, share the cookies equally between the children, okay? So first of all, we need to know how many cookies. So we need to count how many cookies, and then we need to think about how many we're sharing between. So first of all, share the cookies equally between the children. What is the question asking us? How many cookies do Bobby and Serena get each? So how many cookies? So our first thing we need to do is count how many cookies. Okay, so I'll give you some time to do that. We'll pause here and then we'll do it together. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's cookies. So you might be able to remember that. You might want to then go and get 8 objects, count them out, or you might want to write it on, whatever is best for you. So we've got 8 cookies. So you need 8 objects. Okay. Right, now you've got your 8 objects. What we need to then think about is how many we're sharing between. So it says Bobby and Serena. So we've got Bobby and Serena. So how many are we sharing it between? So we're sharing it between 2. Okay, so we've got 8 cookies and we're sharing it between 2 people. It's really important when you're sharing that you go from one group to the other one at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, until there's no more left. Okay, so I need to view this slideshow. Bear with me. There we go. So I'm going to click on here now and it should share. So remember, pause here so you can do that. You might want to have some objects that you share between you and another person, You might want to go and get yourself 2 sheets of paper, or you might want to get yourself 2 plates and share that way. However you would like to, okay? That's what I want you to think about. So we're going to share the 8 cookies between the 2 people. So I'm going to click and it's going to share. So I've shared 1, then the other 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I've shared until all of those, okay, have been given into one of those groups, shared into one of those groups. So I got some, Bobby's got some, and Serena's got some. And I've shared them one at a time. So then we need to look at how many cookies Bobby has got and how many cookies Serena has got. So Bobby has 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we need to check Serena because it needs to be shared equally. That means they need to have the same. So let's see if Serena's also got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you have shared yours equally if you've got the right amount, so the right number, and you've shared it equally between the 2 people. So we should have 4, Bobby should have 4 cookies, and Serena should also have 4 cookies. So when we share 8 between 2, the answer is 4. Okay? So what we need to remember as well, something that's very interesting when you move on to fractions, is that when you share between 2 groups, okay, when we share between 2 groups, that also means half. So we had 8 cookies and we halved them. Okay, we halved 8 cookies. That means we shared it between 2. So another thing to also remember is thinking about your odd and your even numbers, but that's your Fly High, your challenge, okay, that you are going to be attempting today. So if a number is even, that means we can share it equally between 2 groups, okay? If a number is odd, we cannot share it equally or share it fairly between 2 people, okay? So that means that Bobby and Serena, they've both got 4 each. That means the number 8 is an even number, okay? If they did not have the same number and it was not shared fairly, the amount that I did share, then that would mean the number is an odd number. Okay, but that's only when you halve the number or share it between 2. Okay, that means the same thing. Okay, I'm going to come out of that one because I don't want to do all the questions with you because that is your learning for today. So you are going to work through the rest of the slides. So it moves on to pizza slices. So they've got plates there, so you might want to get yourself some plates. It's got some fish and fish tank. There's some strawberries, some birds and some worms, chocolates, some counters or some dots. Okay, and then they start to build up. Okay, so they're sharing into 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, and 6 groups to really challenge your thinking. Okay, so there's some questions there to challenge your thinking near at the end related to division and sharing. There's quite a lot to work through. So pick and choose the ones you would like. You don't have to do them all. So choose the ones that you would like to try. And near the very end, there are some questions for you to think about that will challenge your thinking further in relation to division. So can you share or divide in another way? So into a different amount of groups. Okay. Are you able to share in 2s? So instead of sharing 1 object at a time, can you share 2 at a time? Then I've got some questions for you to think about in terms of relating to the odd and the even numbers. So can we share an odd number and then explain your reason? How do we know if a number is odd or even and explain your reasoning? And then on the slide after that, once you've thought about that, there is the answer, but I will flip past that. Okay, and then you can have a look on the PowerPoint when you access it yourselves at home. The answer. Then to end the lesson, it's just a plenary. So that's just rounding up your learning from today. And can you talk to somebody or write about what you've learned about division? And then as always, we would love to see some photos of you, okay, sharing some objects equally. Okay, so for your division, we want to see some photos of you sharing some objects in your homes to show us your learning for your division. That'd be really lovely to see. So please email, send us some lovely photos of you doing your sharing, your division at home. And have a good day.